Today's episode is brought to you by Get a Floor Sample. Cannot emphasize this enough, won't stop emphasizing it. Always get a floor sample. Whether you shop from us or somebody else, whether you go into a store or you have someone come into your home, no matter what happens, the floor you think you're going to buy, get a piece of it in your hand and look at it in the room where you're going to put it with your specific lighting and wall colors. If it matters, if the color matters, then you got to see it for real. Get a sample. Thanks a lot. Here's the show. Hi, welcome to Making Flooring Easy. I'm your host, David, and this is the show where we try to make everything you need to know about flooring easy to understand. And today my guest is, once again, Dan Kahn, owner of our company, Floors to Your Home, who's been in flooring for, he says, 40 years. Really, it's all of his life. And the company's been in his family for about 100 years, so it's kind of dyed into his wool, you could say. Last time we talked about how flooring shopping happens at all. Like, do you have to have a salesman come in? Basically, how does the process work? And apparently the next things people want to know about, one of them is price. They want to know about how flooring is priced and how much it's going to cost. So how is flooring priced for the shopper?
Today, most flooring is priced by the square foot. A lot of people don't really understand what square feet really means or how to figure square feet. So, what I would suggest is very simple, but a lot of people just don't understand it. And they think that because they don't, that they're dumb or something like that, but really...
Or they can't do this.
But most people don't understand it.
Because you don't do it very often.
Yeah, so
what's the square footage of the floor of my car? What's the square footage of my bedroom?
Right. So it's a very simple formula. They can go and they can just measure the length of the room times the width of the room, and they can get square feet.
So 10-foot width by 15-foot length is 10 times 15.
Is 150 square feet.
150 square feet.
So then they can go online, they could go to a home center, they could go wherever, and they can see a square foot price. But a lot of places, especially the home centers, they try to confuse the situation and they try to price it by the carton.
Why is a carton price not useful?
The carton price isn't useful because you have to know how much is in a carton. You have to know how many square feet are in a carton.
And it's not a small variance, is it?
Right.
We can have a carton of one kind of floor that literally has 12 square feet in it.
And you have another one might have 30.
That might have 30 square feet in a single carton because of the size of the planks.
Right.
And the thickness and how much and the size of the box they've chosen to use.
Right.
So a carton doesn't tell you anything.
So, you need to figure out what the square foot price is.
Most of our flooring carton is going to tell you this box contains 20.37 square feet. Divide the carton price by that, and you've got your square foot price.
And you got your square foot price.
Yeah, because if you look online, if you go to a flooring store like us, where we sell online, that's what you're going to see.
Right.
But if you look on Google, and you look in Google Shopping, you're going to see the carton price.
You're going to see the carton price. To the consumer who hasn't bought flooring that often,
right?
Carton price, square foot price. It's just confusing, and it just needs to be very simple. Now you can figure out how many cartons you need, by the square foot on the carton. So if you need 150 square feet, and you go and you look for a carton, and the carton has 25 square feet in it, okay? Then you need 6 cartons.
Right.
Okay? You need 6 cartons of material.
Right.
And so now sometimes if you need 140 square feet, you still may need 6 cartons of material because it comes out that way. And plus, don't forget, and this is very important, you always need to calculate like 10%, 5 to 10% for waste.
Of extra
material.
Because your room is a certain length and the planks are a certain length and you may install 5 planks. And
right.
You get to the end, you're only installing 2/3 of a plank. And so you cut 1/3 of it off. Now you don't necessarily throw that away. You may use that for another row, but sometimes you're gonna literally end with, I've got 3 inches here. I'm not going to use that 3 inches to start the next row.
And it's always good to have a little extra.
Right.
Put it in your attic, put it out in the garage, there's always somebody calling us for some extra material a year when we've already sold out of it.
Right.
And they're needing another box or two.
Sure.
It's always a safe bet to get an extra box or two.
And we're going to sell out because we're basically an outlet store.
Right.
Stuff comes in and goes. But even stores with running line, they're going to change every year.
Yeah.
They're going to change their styles. And so, it's important because you're going to drop something on the floor, you're going to spill something, or something had happened. You just need a
These
new...
floors are not indestructible. You know, if you drop something really, really sharp on them or whatever.
They're made of wood, they're made of stone, they're made of plank. You drop acid on it, or if the cat pees in the same place for a year and you can't get that smell out.
And it's not just ours, it's all floors.
Right, just flooring.
Yeah. Now, they can take a beating, for sure. For the typical pet and cat and dog, they're great. But sometimes stuff happens where you drop a sharp knife, or
you don't realize the mini fridge was dripping for 6 months, and you move it, and all of a sudden you've got this area.
I mean, a lot of things. So it's always good to have a couple of cartons on hand, some extra material, a carton or two. You know, it's always a safe bet on that.
So always round up, probably add 5 to 10% anyway.
Yeah.
But the long and short of it is, pricing is square foot. It's not square yard, which is how people do fabric,
right.
You know, at clothing stores.
It used to be square yard in the flooring business, but it's square foot.
Right.
But don't think that you're dumb or stupid or something like that because you're not used to it. Everybody's in that boat, okay? Everybody's in that boat. They call us up and they go, we don't really know how to figure. It's just length times width.
Right.
And it's just as simple as that.
And, you know, if you've got a weird shaped room where it's not necessarily a perfect box or rectangle, there's this inset of like, well, my room is here, but that's the entryway which cuts into it. Measure the entryway and subtract it.
That's right.
You measure that rectangle and say, oh, well, this is 8 feet by 10 feet. Well, then you just take 80 feet off.
Right.
Obviously you need to know how many square feet you need.
Right.
Okay. And we'll go into that in some detail later too.
Yeah.
2, shop by the square foot price.
You need to know how much they're charging per square foot.
Exactly. So basically you're shopping in a different way than you shop at a grocery store. Grocery stores, good ones, will post price per ounce or price per unit. Now the bad ones will have bottles of ketchup, and this brand it's price per ounce, this brand it's price per bottle. The good ones will do price per ounce. We don't really shop that way because a bottle of ketchup is a bottle of ketchup is a bottle of ketchup.
Right.
You can just say, well, this one's $3, this one's $5. But with flooring, it's very deceptive.
Right.
A $40 carton might have 10 square feet in it, and a $50 carton might have 30 square feet in it.
Right.
Now, the Google thing, because I'm the one dealing with this mess, is because Google is incapable of recognizing square foot pricing as a thing. So Google thinks, well, can somebody buy 1 square foot? Well, then you're not selling by the square foot, and that's wrong. We sell by the square foot. And that Google seems to be the thing people think normalizes. The price we're selling is a square foot price.
Is a square foot price, and it's multiplied times the square feet in a carton.
Right.
If we sell it for $1 a square foot,
right,
and the carton has 25 square feet in it,
right,
the carton is $25.
Right.
And so then you need to figure out how many cartons you need. If it's 6 cartons, then it's $150.
And the reason you need to know that it's $1 a square foot is because our $25 carton has 25 square feet in
That's
it
right.
at $1. Now, you go to Lowe's and say, well, look, these cartons are $17 a carton. That's cheaper than $25 a carton. Yeah, and it's got 12 square feet in it.
Right. It has less square footage.
It's more than double the price. You need more than twice as many cartons. So your bottom line is going to be calculated by the amount of square feet you need plus 5 or 10% times the carton price.
And then figuring out how many cartons you need to figure that out.
In terms of what to ship, right, exactly.
Right.
Now, if you're buying, like on our website, you just type in, here's the square footage, and it just gives you the proper carton number. But when you're shopping outside, yeah, you've got to do that math. That's the part, hopefully, the customer service can help you with. So pricing. Now, what do people generally expect, rough estimate, square foot price for hardwood if they shop anywhere? And I know the prices vary wildly, especially here.
So there's 2 really categories.
Right.
Solid and engineered. Most of the old timers like me remember 25, 30 years ago where the market was mainly solid.
Sure.
You go into an older house, you see that 2.25 strip on the, strip floor, that hardwood floor on there.
Yeah.
And that's what was built on there, and that's what is still there, and, it lasts through the ages. Well, as we've progressed through the years, solid has become less popular, and engineered has become more popular.
And the reason?
And the reason is because engineered hardwood is more versatile, meaning that it's more water resistant and you can install it different ways. It's more forgiving. So you can nail it down and on a wood subfloor, you can glue it down on a wood subfloor, or you can float it, on a subfloor or concrete.
And listeners, a floating floor is basically a floor that is simply not attached to your subfloor. It's not nailed, it's not glued.
They glue the tongue to the groove.
Right.
And they float it over a pad usually.
Or it's a click together.
Right, or if it's a click together.
And engineered can go. So solid is the most restricted floor type in terms of where it could go. It can't go below.
Right, can't go below grade.
Below ground level. Below in a basement.
Right. So it can only go on the first floor on grade or above grade.
Grade being ground level.
Right. And engineered can go below ground level,
right,
on ground level, or above ground level.
And even in those rooms, because of the way it's made, engineered is resistant to temperature and environmental changes.
And the manufacturers have really come a long way with engineered hardwood, with the surfaces, and they're a lot of them are wider planks and longer planks. So you get the wider looks. The finishes are super scratch resistant,
right,
super water resistant. So there's really a lot of different colors and styles out there. There's even 100% waterproof hardwood out there.
Which is new. And folks, that's weird, and we'll get to that. We'll explain what that is down the road.
Yeah, you got to think of it engineered. It's kind of like they're layered. The wood is layered underneath the veneer, so it's real wood up on top.
Mm-hmm.
It's real wood. Some people think that engineered hardwood isn't real wood. It is real wood.
Yeah.
If you look at the side of it, you'll see different layers.
Right.
And that basically gives it this dimensional stability.
Right.
And the moisture resistance.
And dimensional stability is the ability to not respond too much to temperature changes.
Right.
And so, and those layers crisscross.
That's
so what
right.
you think of as the grain of the wood goes back and forth, and it sort of strengthens itself.
Right. They do crisscross.
There are other versions of engineered that are relatively new, where there's a different kind of a core.
And those are usually the ones that are the waterproof.
Right. And but we call it engineered hardwood because once you've laid this down, what you are going to see, what you are going to walk on, is going to be that top layer of wood, and separate from something like a laminate or a vinyl.
Right.
Where if they're going to make wood looks, they're probably going to have anywhere from 3 to 12 different photos of a floor that will repeat. A true waterproof engineered, no repetition.
Right.
And that's so it qualifies in every technical way,
right.
Even though below it's made of material that's much more water resistant.
Right. So engineered hardwood is real hardwood.
Right.
But it's that top surface,
Right. And below it is whatever it needs to be.
Whatever it needs to be to.
In general, what do you think people do or should expect as a square foot price for solid hardwood?
For solid hardwood, you could be looking at anywhere from $5 a square foot all the way up to $15, $20 a square foot, depending on the style, whether it's hand scraped, whether it's a wider width.
Species of wood?
Species of wood. Some hickories are very expensive. So they're all over the place. There's different thicknesses. With solid, usually 99.9% of the time, they're 3/4 of an inch thick. And engineered, you can get different thicknesses. You can get 5/16, you can get 3/8, you can get 7/16, you can get 1/2 inch. What's really typical is 3/8 to a 1/2 inch.
Okay, for engineered.
For engineered. There's builder grade qualities that start in the probably in the $4 or $5 range a square foot. Now that doesn't include installation. That's just material only.
We are talking from the standpoint of you're buying a floor, not a floor and an installer.
Right. So we're not talking about installation. We're talking about the material only. And it could go from $4 or $5 a square foot on up.
So a little cheaper than solid.
Yeah.
So hardwood we're saying maybe starts at 5. Engineered we're saying maybe starts at 4. What about waterproof vinyl? Where's roughly the price zone for that?
Yeah, we say waterproof vinyl. There's waterproof vinyl that's direct glue down, and there's waterproof vinyl that clicks together, that floats over the subfloor.
Right.
There's there's different thicknesses. Okay. Typically, and this is very important, we don't think it's safe to install. This is our opinion as our store. We don't think it's really safe to install anything under 4 millimeters thick. Okay.
So
now that's click together. That's not glue down.
right, glue down is you can
glue
like
down,
wrapping
yeah.
paper. Right.
Yeah, you can glue that down. But a click together to install that, where you need a level subfloor and all that, we don't want to install anything under a 4 millimeter. Okay. So that's where now they.
But that exists.
But that exists.
Stuff under 4 millimeters.
So I'm going to say our baseline is a 4 millimeter, is where it starts.
Okay, given that, where does the pricing generally fall in for that in most stores? Not us, we're an outlet store.
Yeah,
our pricing is cheaper.
Where you might be able to find that is it could start anywhere from $2.49 going up from there. You might find it, maybe a dime less, even on our side or whatever. But I'd say in that $2.49 range is where it starts.
Right. And folks, as we're giving these prices, the ranges are huge, which means it's probably good to say, well, okay, this is more likely to fit into our price range when you're just beginning, which is why we're doing this. The fact of the matter is, if you say, okay, we can afford $4 a square foot, your options are probably pretty wide as far as what kind you can have. We just want to give you a general sense because you're starting from scratch. So how about laminate? Laminate used to be our big thing, and it's kind of been overtaken by vinyl because when laminate was our big thing, everybody's question was, do you have a waterproof laminate? Well, no. And vinyl became that because what laminate did was it very quickly became very good at replicating wood looks, and vinyl's kind of caught up.
And laminate still has some really, really nice looks and realistic hardwood looks. Laminate has gotten kind of a bad rep, so to speak, because when laminate first came in the late 1990s,
right,
maybe 1996, 1997,
right,
people just flocked to it, and they put it in millions of homes. Well, that laminate back then,
the earliest, it was invented in 94.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a 2-year-old product at that point.
Yeah, and so those type of laminate floors, if a dog spilled its water bowl, it would
soak it up,
it would
and expand
and all that. So people looked at that and said, "Oh my God, I can't have that."
Well, aside from hardwood, where you're talking solid hardwood, you're talking you can literally have it in your house for 100 years.
Yes.
Most floors you're looking at 25 plus or minus 5 or 10 is the life of a floor. So those laminate floors that were installed in the late 90s, 10 or 15 years ago, were hitting their life number.
Oh.
And so or we're hitting it earlier than that.
Yeah.
And so you can see why the reputation would have fallen, because as the technology got better, its reputation got worse because it was those floors that were crashing and burning for some people.
But today's laminate is really, really, the major manufacturers who are making it today have really come a long way, and we really don't have those issues anymore. So I haven't seen an issue like that, in years.
Right.
But the old time laminate, when people see that on the floor, they say, "Oh my God, I don't want laminate." But laminate sure has come a long way, and as long as it's a quality manufacturer and all that, it's a quality product.
Right, and that technology improved quickly.
Yeah,
and really so to the point where I don't know if we technically have a waterproof laminate yet, but there are vinyl floors that are almost laminates, which means you've effectively got that.
There's some very, very high water resistant laminates out there,
right?
And the word is on the street that waterproof laminate is just around the corner.
And we're at the zone where most laminates are, if the dog spills water on the floor or whatever, you've got a few hours to get that up.
For sure.
Right? And it's been that way for a while.
Yeah.
So laminate pricing, roughly, outside of us, but in general in a regular store, where's it going to start?
You can get laminate from maybe $1.59 on up. You really could. And then it goes up from there.
Yeah. But that's the bottom.
That's where it kind of starts.
I'm trying not to be too floors to your home centric. There's stuff that we don't really sell. We just don't currently sell, for instance, porcelain and stone.
Right.
So we've done it, but we don't currently because, folks, if you're listening, we ship flooring across the country, and porcelain and stone is just heavy.
Well, it's heavy and it breaks so easily.
Yeah, so it just doesn't make sense. But
right.
we dabbled in it, and we did it when we weren't the kind of business we are. We did a lot of it. But just for people who are looking in that direction, what are they looking at as a starting point for a decent?
So again, there's a zillion different patterns and everything else.
Yeah.
But that, you know what, you can start in that porcelain and ceramic tile range under 99 cents a square foot. The problem is, the issue is you can buy porcelain and ceramic tile. It could go from 99 cents to $99. Okay, the range is incredible. What it is that that the labor to install it is so much more expensive.
It's not a do-it-yourself.
You
got to have
really
like a
have
thing
to have
called a wet saw.
You have to have a craftsman do that,
right?
Or you're going to be in trouble,
right?
You could have cracked tiles, and if it's not done correctly,
right. So we'll as we go along, we'll talk about stone and ceramic where we can, obviously, but it's not our bread and butter.
That's not. You really have to go to a place that really specializes in the installation of ceramic tile and stone. And it's usually very expensive, but it's worth that expense.
Once it's down.
Once it's down or on your shower wall or whatever.
Right.
So it doesn't come off or crack.
Right.
Oh, it's a skilled craftsman that has to do that.
And so the next one I'm going to hit is carpet. Roughly what's a square foot price for carpet going to start? For a decent carpet.
I would say that, you could get it in the 99 cent range, maybe 89 cent range. There's all different levels of carpet too. There's builder grade carpet on up. So there's different fibers, different cuts.
Or thicknesses, I guess.
Right. There's different, when I say different fibers, there's fibers that stand up to pet proof, that are
they made out of plastic?
There's like made out of corn.
Oh, wow.
And made out of the plastic, like the water bottles that you drink.
Right.
They
cycle
melt
those and make floors out of
Yeah,
it.
they melt those down and add dye to them, and they make carpet out of it.
And it's carpet that if your cat pees on it, you can actually clean it up and it's cleaned up.
You can drop red wine on it and it cleans right up. So there's all different kinds. But carpet today, the manufacturers are making that compete with the vinyl floors and the wood floors and all that, because carpet has really taken a deep market share
kind of
plunge over the last few years. More people are putting in hard surface. Now, let's be clear about something. Carpet still has like a 40% market share. 10 years ago, it had a 75-80% market share. Okay, but it has probably a 40-45% market share today, and that's a lot of carpet being sold out there.
Yeah.
So people are still putting carpet in their homes and whatever, but they want to be more careful. They want it to last. They don't want it to wear out. They want their dogs to be able to go on it. They want to have peace of mind that if their kids play on it and they spill their grape juice, that it'll clean up. And that's what people are wanting today, and that carpet is out there. That will take care of that. And that price range for that type of carpet is, usually in the $2.50, $3 a square foot range.
And likewise, installing a carpet is not a big do-it-yourself type project.
Right.
I mean, it's not as bad as ceramic, but you probably do need professionals to come in, stretch it.
100%.
Right.
100%.
Whereas the hard surface floors almost all of them qualify to some degree for a level of do-it-yourself installation.
Especially the click-together ones,
right,
are made to cater to the do-it-yourself person.
Yeah, we had a letter when I first started here within the first year or two that was sent by, I think, a 70-year-old couple who had installed their own floor, and they were just so proud. So the other thing that's first concern for people is looks. It seems to me that there are three broad looks. There's the carpet look, which you will only get from carpet. We've occasionally had a tile that had like a printed carpet pattern that just, obviously we don't have that anymore, and there's probably a reason for that. The other look you can have is a tile look, which is a pattern made of squares. It could be a checkerboard, or it could be some kind of a design made of actual square tiles, or a sheet vinyl usually has that kind of a look. And the other look is wood planks. It seems like those are the three flooring looks broadly, other than, painted cement. You've got that too. But am I missing one, or are those the general broad
I think those
styles?
are the general ones. I mean, most people want the wood looks.
Right, the wood plank look.
Yeah, and they want the tile looks in their bathrooms, or they want the tile looks maybe in their kitchen.
Yeah.
But generally, the wood looks are the most popular.
And so if you want a tile look, the nice thing is you are not necessarily relegated to having to have ceramic tile or even having to have vinyl tiles.
Right.
Because right away, the laminate people were like, hey, let's make laminates that look like tile floors. And they looked pretty good.
Right.
And they had embossed register surfaces. And vinyl has kind of done the same thing. So the goal of vinyl's goal has been, we need to look more like wood. And laminates has been like, oh, we need to look more like tile.
Right.
Those have been their hurdles to climb. And they've kind of climbed those mountains. And
Yeah.
so whatever the look that you want, the odds are you can get that look in whatever format of flooring you decide. If you decide we've got to have vinyl because this is a kitchen, you can have vinyl that's going to have a really nice hardwood look. If you decide we got to have tile flooring, not necessarily in the bathroom, but somewhere else, right?
You can have it.
You can have it in a laminate. And the real super strength of laminate has always been its durability. I know you've talked about the early laminates, but once laminates settle like 5-10 years it was like the strongest thing you could get as far as families and pets and all that.
And the tile looks in laminate or vinyl go down so easy, takes away what I said before about the craftsmanship of paying that high price of installing real ceramic tile or porcelain.
Exactly.
So you get the look
that you want
at the do-it-yourself type of price.
Right, and do-it-yourself price means either you're doing it yourself or your installer is working with a do-it-yourself product.
And it goes down quick.
And it isn't 3 days, it takes a few hours.
Right, you don't need the skilled craftsman. The good handyman can do it.
So you can first say, here's roughly the price we have. Okay, here's roughly the look we want. And then after that, even with both of those factors, you probably can find vinyl, laminate, and engineered hardwood. I don't think we've seen an engineered hardwood that looks like tile. So there's a limitation there. You're not going to find engineered hardwood that looks like tile. It's going to look like hardwood. That's what it is.
Yeah, I haven't, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a limit there.
Yeah.
Carpet always looks like carpet. Engineered hardwood and solid hardwood looks like hardwood.
They have made wood tile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
you've got parquet
tile.
floors rather.
Yeah, parquet, but yeah. But they're not going to make something look out of wood look like ceramic tile.
Right. So your limitations is a true piece of wood is going to look like a wood floor. A true piece of carpet is going to look like carpet. With your vinyl and laminates, sky's the limit. So if you decide the goal here is a really supreme durability because this is going to be a big traffic area, therefore laminate, it can look the way you want. If you say this is going to be in my bathroom, it's got to be vinyl, or the kitchen, it can look the way you want.
That's right.
All right. Well, folks, I'm going to drop a few mini episodes about getting looks, about hardwood flooring species, and the fact that hardwood changes color and what you do with that. And then the next time Dan and I talk, we're going to talk more specifically about what kinds of floors you are able to have given your situation. In other words, it's in the basement, you can't have solid, and we'll talk about why. And we'll talk about best and worst floors. So that's coming next. All right, that's it. Thanks for listening to this episode of Making Flooring Easy. This podcast is executive produced by Floors to Your Home, or Dan Kahn, some combination thereof. And it is conceived, produced, edited, audio cleaned, all of that by W. David Lichty, and that's me. And if you like the show, you know the drill with podcasts, like, subscribe, all of that. We're glad to have you. But of course, this is kind of a weird show. It's very topical. So you can also just search for the episodes you want and listen to that. However you choose to listen to the show, we're glad you're here. Very much appreciate you listening, and please stay tuned for more episodes and more mini episodes. Thanks a lot. Music from each episode comes from the website freepd.com, where you can find music for your own podcasts. And for the most part, we generally wind up using music by Kevin MacLeod, who's been making free usable music for more than a decade, and it's generally really great stuff. And as I said before, if you've got a question we haven't addressed on this podcast yet, or you just don't want to poke through our catalog and find it, that's fine. Call us at Floors to Your Home. We're not hard salespeople, we're just flooring answer people. Call us at 1-800-804-5251 with any question you have. Seriously.